break God's heart. I may have broken God's heart in 2023 and 2024, but in 2025, it's going to be me and God. I feel like preaching tonight. Touch a neighbor, say, I'm drawing closer to God in this hour. I feel this apostolic grace. Touch somebody and say, I refuse to look back. Call me, I ain't answer. You text me, I ain't respond. Go ahead and you go and drink. I had my days. My stomach can't handle that no more. You go ahead and you smoke. Do what you want to do, but I'm after the promises. New birth, you're fasting for 21 days, not because you're trying to get slim and trim, but you're trying to draw closer to God, because you got a leader that understands if you draw close to God, he'll draw nigh to you. Have anybody been feeling God's presence more since you've been fasting and praying? Every time I turn around, somebody jump on your feet, spin around. Say, every time I turn around, he's blessing me. I feel like preaching here. If they was jealous of you 21 days ago, I don't know what they're going to do when this fast is over, because you're coming big and you're coming better. I feel like preaching here. Tell somebody, say, I refuse to be mediocre. Somebody go off in your tongues real quick. Say, I refuse. I'm almost King Hezekiah decided, I'm not going to be like my father. His father Ahaz reigned for 16 years. But Hezekiah reigned for 29 years. When you live a pure life, you will last long. That's why the Bible said the wicked only have one season. David said, fret not yourself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious of the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the green grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good. So shall he give you the desires of your heart. I see prophetically rain falling in this house. Some of you, after this 21-day fast, you ain't going to be the same. I promise you. I can see the power of God. You're not going to be the same. I don't preach about this all the time, but your Boaz is coming. Your root is coming. Your money is coming. Your joy is coming. And everything that the enemy sent your way, God is intercepting it and throwing it back at the enemy. I feel like preaching. Tell your neighbor, say, God just broke the curse. There are requirements. Ahaz was unfaithful. He had alliance with foreign power. He was leaning on Syria, not on God. What a slap in God's face. I don't care who become the prime minister in the Bahamas. My hope is built on nothing less. I don't care who becomes the president in the United States of America. All I know that God kept me during Biden and he'll keep me during Trump. He kept you during Penland. He kept you during Perry. He kept you during Hubert. And you tell me now that Brave is in the house and God can't keep you. Touch your neighbor. Say, it's God, it's God, it's all God. Food in my cupboard, it's all God. Clothes on my back, it's all God. In my right mind, it's all God. It's all God. It's all God. Tell your neighbor, say it's all God. Yeah. Hezekiah refused to be like his. It tells me that you and I can make choices that's going to work in our favor. I don't want to hear my mother was a drunkard, so I drink. The devil is a lie. My father was smoking and hooking and crooking and can't stop looking, and I got his ways. The devil is a liar. I've got God's ways. That's what fasting is so important, because what fasting does, it puts the flesh in its place. Fasting put the flesh, it arrests the flesh. Why fasting? Man, it always to pray and not to. Hezekiah refused to be like his father. To dissect this text, let's go to verse 3. He refused. I refuse to be mediocre. I'm looking at some of you. Greatness is all over you. All over your life. Because he's about to shift you. There are no coincidences in God or happenstance. It's only the providence of God, which means that God is in control of all things at all times. Apostle, how come I'm to service tonight? It's the order of God that has you here tonight. Not luck or coincidence. God brought you here to hear this word, to strengthen your faith. Are y'all getting me? Verse 3 says, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. It's time for us to please God now. It's time for us to make decisions that's going to make God smile. It's time for us to fight back our flesh and our desires and the things that we love so much. It's time for us to fight back. You can't repeat the same things that you've done in 24 that caused you to fail. If you want a new season and you want a new results, you got to do a new thing. Y'all hear me? The Bible says he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father did. Father David, the Bible said, if you be willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. The prerequisite, there are requirements to God's greatness. God can make you a millionaire today. He can turn things around today. But God said, I'm not going to do it until your flesh becomes subjected. Are y'all hear me? Not going to do it until you have poised and positioned yourself for what I've got for you. If we follow God's direction, we will be saved, we'll be blessed. We will lack for nothing. But we must follow his direction. And don't let anybody tell you it can be hard sometimes following God. It can be hard sometimes to go against what you used to. When you make up in your mind that I'm not going to be the same and I'm not going to be a failure, you will refuse to take the enemy's offer. Are y'all hearing me? New birth. The Bible says he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. Let's do it. Verse number 4 says, he removed the high places. He removed the high places. There's some high things in our lives, some things that you and I put before God. There are some people and some habits and some things that we love so much, and it's hard to get rid of it. Hezekiah removed the high places. Removed the high places. I realize, Pastor Davis, that it's only for us to make the decision to be blessed. You live and you die by the choices you make. Hezekiah removed the high places that his father had set up. He could have just joined right in and said, my father left me this inheritance, but he knew it was against God, and he knew in order for him to be blessed, he would have to do it God's way. There's no way you gathered. There's no way to be anointed unless you do it God's way. There is no way you can prosper unless you do it God's way. There is no way but God's way. some images that keeps appearing before you to remind you of your past. We call that stronghold. Stronghold is a habit that you can't break. That's how the enemy tried to trap us. When we continue in sin and continue going our way, it locks us in. The devil said, I ain't going to let you go. And that's why prayer and fasting is so important, because it breaks the shackles off of you. I refuse to stand before God and not hear well done. I refuse to stand before God and not have fulfilled what he has called me to fulfill. I'm not going to let my flesh get the better part of me. I'm not going to let my attitude get the better part of me. I'm not going to let the lust of this world get the better part of me. I preached to our church this morning at Global in Orlando, and the message was, give us this day our daily bread. See, some of us are too concerned about tomorrow. God said, if you get appreciative for today, I'll take care of you. Hezekiah, he refused. The Bible said he removed the high places and he break the images. And he cut down the groves and break in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses made. There was a time when there was a plague in Israel because of sin, of being bitten with snakes. God told Moses to construct a brazen serpent. Everyone, and put it on a pole, and everyone that looked at the serpent gets healed immediately. Watch this now. I want to show you something. When anyone would look at the brazen serpent, they were healed from the venomous snake. They lived. They decided to bring that old brazen serpent with them wherever they went, as if their deliverance came through that serpent. The deliverance came through God. What are you saying, Apostle Johnson? I don't care who helped